Hello everyone. Today I have a guest with me. He's another TikToker. I know I've befriended a few of them. They're horrible people at heart, but some of them are good. Like my friend here, Striker. I've actually known him for a while, and we're gonna be covering the Kakuzu victim himself, Pain.
Yeah, tell him again. It's funny you say that, but you have a TikTok, by the way. Six has a TikTok, so make sure you check it out.
I don't use it, and don't check it out. But look,
he posted a video the day
we're covering Pain. Obviously, he loses to Kakuzu. That much does not need to be stated. I mean, you've seen Swag's debates on it. You know it in your heart that Kakuzu would just win.
Obviously. He has better raw durability.
Better raw durability. He's faster than Asuma, who can speed blitz Sage Naruto. And Shikamaru can also speed blitz Pain. But that's neither here nor there. When Pain attacked the village, they just weren't feeling it that day. But yeah, obviously, y'all joking aside, we're talking about Pain. I've been wanting to talk about Pain for a long time, and I mentioned at the end of my Madara versus the Akatsuki video that Itachi, Obito, and Pain were people I wanted to cover separately because they're very important and they're very cool. I should have threw Kisame in there as well because I'm gonna talk about Kisame, but I didn't. But I'll make a video on him eventually. But yeah, so this is Pain's video for this. I'm doing him first because I'm not gonna say I like him the most, but he's the funnest to cover because a lot of Pain's like power scaling is extremely implicit, and I like that kind of stuff, and Striker does as well. So I guess the first thing we could talk about is just like the jutsu Pain has, like what he's capable of actually doing. Obviously he has the Rinnegan. What do you think about Pain being like the best Rinnegan user we've seen so far?
I feel like that could make a lot of sense considering he's the only one that makes usage of all the abilities. Like even Sasuke, when he's saying, I'm now mastering it during the fight with Naruto or whatever.
Yeah,
he's like only uses one ability aside from like Shibaku Tensei or whatever. He uses the absorption ability like only one time.
Yeah, like obviously Madara and Sasuke, they have like better control over the certain Rinnegan abilities. Like Madara can make like 20 Shibaku Tensei. Sasuke can do his without the core, things like that. But I'm talking about like just as far as who uses the most Rinnegan abilities and uses them the best. I think that trophy just goes to Pain. I mean, he's had the dojutsu since he was born, pretty much since he was born. Madara gave him to him when he was very young. With that, the Rinnegan obviously come with, the Ashura path, Diva path, Animal path, Predator path, Naraka, Human, Outer path, and we all know what these do. I recently did a video on, covering all the dojutsu. The Rinnegan was included in that. We all know what the Rinnegan does. It's just we get to see Pain make the most use of these set abilities, especially the Diva path, right? Like outside of Shibaku Tensei, both Sasuke and Madara never use the Diva path. Well, Sasuke uses Bansho Tenin or Universal Pull, but he doesn't use it in the manga. He only uses it in the anime when he's like pulling the Naruto shadow clones for that Amaterasu attack. I think partially why Pain uses them more than the others is because like you could see the animal path becoming irrelevant very quickly in a fight against Kaguya or something like that, right?
Especially when you consider the description for it is that you're wasting chakra, or at least Nagato was stated to be wasting chakra to give them the shared vision as well. So if something like that is considered wasteful,
it's wasteful to Nagato, and that's like tiers of power down from Rinnegan Sasuke. So I mean, yeah, that's probably just what it's like a meta type of thing. Like there's a Naruto meta. Pain's like at the top of the meta at this time, and then I mean he got patched. Or would you say like DLC characters came out and he just became relevant?
Let's say like Naruto and Sasuke just got buffs in the continuous updates.
Yeah, whatever the case, Pain is the best Rinnegan user. Whatever, we can move on from that. Everyone knows what the Rinnegan does. A few jutsu people don't know Pain has, or people don't know Pain invented, are things like the art of impersonation. So we see Kisame and Itachi use this during the Kazekage rescue arc whenever they had to stop Team Guy and Team 7 or Team Kakashi, whatever you want to call them. It's the jutsu that they split 30% of their chakra into clones and then they go fight those two teams. The jutsu is actually casted by Pain. It's stated in the data books that Pain actually chooses the amount of chakra you allocate in order to do the jutsu, and then he casts it for you.
Imagine Pain just like has like a dead body next to him and it just forces you to use 100% of your chakra or something.
Yeah, and then you just die. Yeah.
You die.
I don't know. It's like Is that a win con? Is that a win con?
With a bit of prep, like when we describe some of these other abilities, you can consider that pain might be super dangerous, more dangerous than people would already like assume with like a little bit of prep.
Yeah, but it's like, do you think the person has to consent to use the jutsu, or is Pain like, yeah, you guys are doing it, and then he just starts making them do it?
The data book seems to imply that it's just on Pain's like decision, so it might just be if Pain wants to do it and has like a sacrifice nearby.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. So I mean, I guess you could say like art of impersonation is like, if not a win con, maybe it's just chakra drain. But I mean, he already has that anyway. Can you use it at range or something like that? I don't know. Whatever. It's just something. It's just something I wanted to bring up because I know a lot of people don't know that Pain is actually like the user of that jutsu. Another one is the Rainmaker jutsu. Like, you know how it rains all the time in the land of the village hidden in the raid where Pain's from, and it's, you know, Pain's able to sense things through these raindrops, things like that. So he's able to watch over all of Amigakure. And, you know, that's another jutsu people don't know Pain actually has.
So there's another jutsu. It's not really combat applicable, but it's the art of astral projection. I'm sure we're all aware of the scenes where, you know, the shadows of the Akatsuki are in like dark rooms and caves or whatever. This comes from a jutsu that Pain has. Basically, Pain acts like a control tower, right? And he's like receiving the thought waves from other Akatsuki members that they release from amplifying their chakra or whatever. And Pain then takes that chakra and creates the phantom body images to have them like communicate with each other from basically wherever in the world. This jutsu has a pretty wide range into wherever their bases are, wherever they're sitting in Cherokee. Through these projections, we know that you can use ninjutsu, as Pain uses another jutsu I'm about to mention called the 9 Phantom Dragon Seal, along with some other jutsu. At least the databook implies you can use more than just that. So onto the 9 Phantom Dragon Seal. This is the sealing jutsu that the Akatsuki used to seal away Biju once they capture a Jinchuriki, or, you know, obviously a Biju. The databook describes it by saying that a maximum of 10 shinobi concentrate their aggregate consciousness to activate the sealing statue. And once they do that, the absorption it's called absorption chakra that comes out of the ghetto statue. It like targets the tailed beast and then seals them into it. Aside from that, like, you know, there's not too much to be said there, but, you know, I thought it was something to note.
Yeah, Pain's also the creator of both the Mirror Attacker Jutsu and the 5 Seal Barrier. That Team Guy like run into where they're like ripping the seals off of the rock or whatever to let the rest of Team Kakashi and Chiyo like enter the cave. Pain just made that.
Yeah, it's really weird. The data book gives this like an insane statement. So the 5 Seal Barrier, basically it has Pain set up 4 like forbidden tags around like a stronghold and placing the 5th one on the stronghold itself, right? And once he completes that, it's stated that no physical attack like at all can destroy anything within that barrier. They say that you need to rip off these tags because it's basically useless to even try using physical attacks to destroy things. You're not like allowed to destroy things, which is why you're not able to. If you're like an edgy debater, you could imply he's like using some sort of law hacks or something to say you're not allowed to destroy things, so you can't destroy things in here or something. With preparation, you know, Pain can just create this insane barrier that the data book is claiming no physical attack can get past, which I think is pretty cool. Then there's the Mirror Attacker.
You fight a mirror of yourself and it attacks you. That's why it's called Mirror Attacker. So moving into like some actual statements for Pain himself, I guess we could just start with like the weekly statement. I'm sure you've seen this before because I've mentioned it before in some of my videos. I think Seth's brought it up before in one of his videos or two, but Pain's actually stated in the weekly release of the manga to be the strongest man in the Akatsuki. Now, whether you think someone like Itachi or Obito can beat Pain is fairly irrelevant because it's questionable if those two are even members of the Akatsuki to begin with. Like Obito, for one, he was Toby who was in the Akatsuki, but at that point he's kind of dead. And Itachi, he's obviously like a spy and whatnot, so the statement doesn't have to apply to him. But out of everyone else, except Kakuzu as well. Yeah, out of everyone else except those 3, Pain should be the strongest. Now, those statements don't exist in the Viz because whenever Viz translates the chapters or whatever, not only are multiple corrections made to the manga, like drawing mistakes, for example. A few times Kishimoto drew EMS Sasuke with his normal Mangekyo Sharingan. Those had to be corrected. These statements at the end are typically there to hype up chapters for the next chapter or hype up the beginning of a chapter. But since when you're reading the manga on Viz or you bought the physical copy, you can just turn the page, those those things aren't needed at all.
Another thing with the weekly statements is that you'll notice that some pages would have Naruto logos plastered over them and stuff like that. They do this because in Weekly Shonen Jump, all they have is the space they can put in for one chapter. So they need to put out these statements to further flesh out like the series and put out more information. But yeah, when it comes to like them not being in volumes, it's just a formatting thing.
Yeah, they just don't make sense to exist there. It would be like if I put in this video, oh well, at 14 minutes in the video, we're going to be talking about pain. It was, well, you should know that.
It's like you're gonna watch the video. Like.
Yeah. So the next thing to get into would just be like putting pain somewhere he obviously is, which is just above signing level. So there's this whole ranking of the ninja world, right? It would go something along the lines of like average Genin, average Chunin, average Jonin, and then Sannin and Kage kind of on the same tier. Maybe you can argue Sannin a little bit higher since they all scale to like Hiruzen, Old Man Hiruzen, who's stated to be the strongest of the 5 Kage. In multiple forms of media, data book, original manga, blah blah blah. And then there's sort of like the Sannin plus stage, right, where Jiraiya says when he learns Sage mode, he goes from Sannin to Sage, which would imply a massive increase, which like Sage mode is. And then all the Sannin kind of have their Sannin plus forms, right? Like there's Sage mode Jiraiya, 100 healing Tsunade, and 8-headed Hydra Orochimaru. And Pain is just above that tier as well. A couple other people you could probably place in that tier is like Itachi, Minato, and Nagato as well. These are all people who are like the above Sannin level genius people, just had unfortunate accidents that killed them. But yeah, I mean, that's all that really needs to be mentioned for that. I mean, I don't think anyone has an issue with Pain, who literally killed Jiraiya, being stronger than Jiraiya.
Yeah, at the end of the fight, Pain says something like, well, if we didn't have this secret, we probably wouldn't have won or something. Which by itself isn't too good of a statement because Pain is he's not certain. He's not saying we would have lost for sure, just saying we probably wouldn't have lost or wouldn't have won because of Jiraiya's tactic. As we see in the fight, Pain is consistently above Jiraiya in speed. Aside from the one instance where he's implied to be resolve amp, Pain just shows superiority to him in speed. Matter of fact, Pain can also block his attacks and stuff like that.
So if anything, right, there's this instance where Jiraiya like kicks Pain in the eyes and people are like, oh, he's speed blitz Pain here. Well, not only does it not make sense for Jiraiya to be like speed blitz levels over Pain and be able to like destroy his eyes and shit like that, it's like this. So then Pain blocks Kibari Senbon at extremely close range. Jiraiya says Kibari Senbon is as fast as Jutsu. Jutsu covers 3 areas, or I guess you could say 4: Senjutsu, Genjutsu, Ninjutsu, Taijutsu, right? So Kibari Senbon should be faster than his kicks, and Pain blocked it at a very, very, very close range. Way closer than Jiraiya was before he started doing that kick, right? So you could argue 2 things here. One, the data book implies when Jiraiya does this, he's sort of resolve amped when he hits Pain, which is one way to sort of like explain it away, like, oh yeah, Jiraiya is not normally that fast. Another way is to say Pain was maybe just not trying as hard at the first because Jiraiya kind of just used Sage mode and Pain doesn't really know what that is, right? So he was just fighting base Jiraiya. He's like, oh well, I'll use this level of power, and then Jiraiya's like massively stronger, kicks him in the eyes. He's like, oh, gotta power up. Then Jiraiya's like, oh, if I keep fighting him like this, I'm gonna die. So
and like the weekly talks about around that time Jiraiya's like freaking out. It says that he's using his strongest Sage mode attacks and they're like useless or whatever. So I definitely don't agree with this idea that Jiraiya scales to Pain or whatever. I think if all 6 powers of Pain were caught in Frog Song, of course Jiraiya would have won, but that does not mean, Jiraiya scales to him in speed or power, durability, or anything. Matter of fact, a funny thing to note is that in Jiraiya's grand scheme to fight Pain one-on-one, right, he's like, I'm going to attack the animal path before it can summon anything, and yet he just failed to do that. The animal path summoned 3 different things before he got hit.
I mean, exactly. It's just like Jiraiya scaling to Pain is just nowhere near implied. So it's even like if we just go a little bit further down the line, Naruto is literally training to get Sage mode to beat someone who killed Jiraiya. Tsunade literally describes it as Naruto's training to get stronger than Jiraiya. If being as strong as Jiraiya or being stronger than Pain won't help you beat him, what would be the point? It just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And then obviously I'm pretty sure everyone would agree in their fight anyway, Naruto is not stronger than Pain.
Which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah, but first we're gonna go over Pain versus the Leaf Village, and this is more like I don't know how to mention what kind of feat. This feat is like insane. So if you take the entire Shinobi Alliance is made up of 80,000 people. 1/5 of that is the Leaf Village, and the Leaf Village in the third data book is called the strongest village. And Pain just negs it. Like Pain just floats up in the sky, blows the whole thing away. He beats everybody in the village with like minimal help from Konan, by the way, like extremely minimal help. Konan is like interrogating Chunin. I think you could tell by their jackets, like actually like they're just tuning. Konan's interrogating to get like information. So I mean,
the animal path, which people would consider the animal path to be one of the weaker paths of Pain, and he's like taking on Anbu members and stuff.
Oh my god, like okay, Tsunade has to run out her entire 100 healings chakra supply just defending against Pain. Kakashi dies. Obviously, you know, we talked about Jiraiya earlier. Naruto comes in stronger than when the Leaf Village is called the strongest village. Still gets beat up badly. So I mean, it took the third Raikage 3 days to take down 10,000 ninja. Random ninja. We don't know who they are. Pain might just slap him like easily, bro. Like, so Shinra Tensei stated to like neg ninjutsu. Pain might just push the lightning cloak off of him and rip his soul out or something, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like, beating the whole Leaf Village is just a crazy feat for Pain that I think a lot of people overlook.
And while we're on the topic of like the Leaf Village being the strongest, I think I should try, you know, propose a way to rationalize it, because, you know, strong can be a bit ambiguous. What if it's referring to military power or like developments as a village or something? Consider this, right? Kakuzu and Hidan, you know, Solo King Kakuzu, he takes a hit from the Two Tails, presumably didn't lose a heart. If you really want to say Kakuzu lost hearts in that, then you know, that's all you. I'm down for, you know, downplaying the Solo King, but presumably Kakuzu didn't lose a heart from that attack, right? In the Kakuzu versus Inoshika Cho rematch or whatever, Choji takes on 2 of Kakuzu's hearts, right? And he misses one of them. It's the scene where he's trying to recall them after the whole Hidan thing, right? And he misses one of them with like his expansion hand slap thing, but he tags another one of them and he one-shots it, right? Which would directly put this Choji above the Two Tails, and at least in AP. This doesn't scale Choji above like the Biju Bomb or anything. But in terms of raw striking power, you can say like Chunin, like not like random Chunin, but notable Chunin and Joni could be like running around with Chunin level with Biju level striking strength. Not sure. Jonin running around with Chunin level strength. What the hell? Okay. You can scale a lot of people to Choji. You know, Toza is like clearly relative to him in the Pain fight. Kakashi is like a Jonin. Jonin are basically stated to be stronger than Chunin. Matter of fact, the ranks in general are implied to be strength based in the fan book, and you know, Jonin above Chunin. So you know, Jonin in general should be above Chunin, and Kakashi is just the strongest Jonin, which is consistent considering, you know, Kakashi is just scaling the Kakuzu pretty consistently.
Yeah, and Kakuzu is the strongest. So to go over Pain versus Naruto briefly, because this fight isn't, I don't want to say it's not all too important, because it's extremely important to the narrative, but to scaling Pain is not all that important, except for the fact that like Pain's extremely weakened when he fights Naruto. Like, he literally just used a jutsu that could shorten his lifespan according to Konan, and he's still like beating Naruto pretty handily. You could say like, oh, the 6 tails and like the 4 tails like broke the chakra rods that he had pinning down Naruto, but had Hinata not hopped down to like get squashed like a bug, Naruto wouldn't have gotten so enraged to do that in the first place. So like,
imagine you're fighting someone in Minato, you know, it just comes out.
Exactly. Like
the horror, like some of the worst conditions anyone's ever had to like fight in the series, really.
Even when Naruto uses like his 6 tails form, is literally the strongest form of Naruto we've seen thus far, with the most hatred according to the data book. Pain still wins with Shibaku Tensei, and he's even holding back with it. So when Naruto goes 8 tails form, right, Pain's like, he's obviously amazed Naruto has so much power, or the 9 tails in specific, but then he's like, maybe I should just make it bigger. So yeah, he's not even going all out when he uses Shibaku Tensei at first. But yeah, obviously he's stronger than Kakuzu. We've been memeing the whole video, but like, yeah, he would beat Kakuzu, and he should be stronger than everyone in the Akatsuki aside from Obito. Like, maybe like Itachi, you could argue, would beat him, but I don't think so, and I don't think most people think that either.
The issue I have with Itachi is like, you know, he has Genjutsu, you know, Susanoo, Totsuka Blade, Gardener, and stuff like that's cool and everything. My only issue just tends to be the stamina thing, where like, you know, he holds back Tsukuyomi on Kakashi, right? He reveals it, you know, in part 1, and holds back on it. You know, Kakashi comments on how he could have killed him by now relative to, because Kakashi already experienced the 3 days of the stabbing, and he's like, he could have killed me right now. Why hasn't he? Or something like that, right? And Kisame, I'm pretty sure, is still concerned about Itachi's health. I'm pretty sure he says something like, you're overusing your eyes or something. And I'm sure we see panels of Itachi breathing, showing he's like a bit fatigued or whatever. And let's say he like one-shots the Ashura path with Tsukuyomi. If that just gets revived, Itachi just lost energy and gained nothing.
As far as like where he caps off at, we don't even really need to get into this because it's pretty blatant. He's weaker than Edo Nagato, and he's just weaker than Obito. There's really no need to take it any further than that. Any further than that would just be like unnecessarily trying to downplay him, I feel like. And I'm not really trying to give this video any like negative connotations. So we're gonna end it there. I mean, obviously if you like the thing, subscribe. If you didn't like it, well,
subscribe.
That's fine, bro. You can hate Pain. I don't know why you hate Pain. Maybe you're a Kakuzu goon, but yeah.
Yeah, post any comments,
Check out Striker's TikTok. I'm gonna link it down in the description. Do not check out mine. Do not look for mine at all. Do not look for mine at all. But yeah, we're gonna head out and yeah.
Yeah, check out TikTok.
Bye.